Let's see what Berri does here. And Berri actually ships all in, which is pretty damn sick. Linus gets the button again. No wonder he has 102k stack. Same 3-bet size by Berri. We're a little bit deeper right now, around 29k. 9-6-3 is very similar to the 9-5-3 flush draw before. I mean, the flush draw not being present does matter a decent amount. And notice how before Berri went for a full pot bet plus $3, and now he went for a third pot bet. Interesting. Linus does call, which is going to be his main play against a small bet. The turn 8 definitely changes things quite a bit. Both players could have pocket 8s. Both players could have 7-5 suited, maybe 10-7 suited, hands like 9-8. They could have hands like 9-7 of diamonds, which have amazing equity against virtually every hand now. So it makes a lot of sense that Berri would end up checking here. Not sure what Linus will do. Okay, he checks. Fair enough. I would have liked the bet by Linus just to see which sizing he implements. River Jack is good for both players. I could see Berri having bet a hand like King Jack on the flop or Queen Jack, and then on the turn he didn't want to continue bluffing, and now he's hit top pair. Same thing for Linus, right? I could see Linus having floated a hand like Ace Jack or King Jack, not turned his hand into a bluff, and now he has a pair. So Linus does go for a big bet here. He's representing a Jack. He's representing the 9x he checked behind. Is he capable of betting an 8 like this? Maybe. Wow, Berri shoves all in here. Interesting. Pretty big shove here. Wow, that's pretty wrecked, you know. In my opinion, Linus is the better player in this game, but that's some serious ownage. So, okay, Linus opens on the button and gets 3-bet. Easy call by Linus. Ace Jack is a fine 3-bet, obviously. I mean, and heads up, when you're playing 80+% of your hands, Ace Jack looks like a monster, and it is. And on the flop, Berri decides to bet. Again, I'm not sure this hand is a high frequency bet for that sizing, so that could be a small mistake, but who knows why he did it, so it seems fine to me. On turn, I like Berri's give up. You know, you're not really expecting the win. And on river, he's probably thinking that Linus doesn't really have much better unless he has specifically a hand like, you know, Jack 8 suited or Jack 9 suited. But he thinks he will get called by hands like Jack 10 that didn't bet the turn or 9. So pretty sick check raise here by Berri, thinking that Linus's range is very capped. So Linus could definitely adjust his strategy and be a bit more tricky next time out, be a little bit more trappy, so Berri doesn't just get to check raise him so thinly. So amazing play by Berri. Obviously, he was sweating it too. When he check raised here, you know, when he checked, he expected Linus to probably bet in the 5k range, and he was going to raise. But once he clicked all in, he was not sure he was going to win, right? So even though it looked awesome, and this play was awesome, it's not as if Berri thought, oh, there's no chance I lose. That's not the case, right? So, but really nice play by Berri. That seems, yeah, sick play. Destroyed. I agree. That's a pretty sweet play right there. If I were Linus, I would definitely quit now. I would be like, all right, let me go back to the lab for now. I mean, Linus would probably expect Berri to even have a hand like this. As I said in the beginning of the review, Berri's capable of making thin value raises. So it's not even super sick, right? It's a good raise. It's a good thin raise. It shows a lot of awareness of the game. MMA, why are you so good at poker? Wow, thank you, Sushi. What's your best poker soft skills enabling you climbing to the top? I would say it sounds very boring, but work ethic is definitely one of them. I mean, I was very driven by the fact that I didn't really see many career opportunities for myself outside of poker. And so when I saw poker and I saw I could make money with it, I saw this as my best way of actually being successful. So I put everything I had into it and then some. So Berri Sweet finally gets the button. And Linus is going to 3-bet him, or not. 9-8-6 flop. Seems like we've seen that before. It was 9-8-5 before. Let's see what Berri uses. So here you're going to see Berri likely will use a different bet system than Linus. So even though they're both some of the best players in the world, you're still going to see distinctly different strategies. And watch, of course, he's going to bet exactly the same now. Funny. Fine. 2/3 it is. And there's not a huge difference between, let's say, a 50% pot bet or like 75 or 80 or 90. What's most important is that you use the right range, right? 7 of spades definitely changes everything. I mean, a 5 and a 10 both make it straight. Flush gets there. I would say Berri is definitely ahead on this turn still. Linus is going to have a lot of good stuff, but you know, if somebody has a big flush, it's definitely more likely to be Berri. Berri is more likely to have a hand like ace-jack of spades, for instance, because Linus would have always 3-bet ace-jack of spades. And so Linus does decide to go for a bet here. When he bets around 3/4 pot, he's representing... I mean, the straight's already on board, right? So he's representing at least his split, but he could be representing a jack here for sure. And he could also have a flush because he's not going to check raise a ton, and then he will have a decent amount of flushes, right? But Berri's more likely to have a big one. So Linus does go for the big bet, trying to pressure Berri, trying to get him to fold a split potentially. And Berri actually goes for the raise, which is kind of unconventional, right? It's possible he has a hand like queen jack for the super straight, but not a flush. And it's possible he does actually have a flush. It's possible he checked back a hand like ace jack of spades, thinking he wants a trap sometimes on the shitty turn, and now he's raising. Linus actually goes for the click back, which is pretty sick. It's kind of funny, right? He's kind of representing a medium flush at this point. He's saying, hey, if I had a really big flush, I probably would have 3-bet you, so I don't really represent too many like small flushes. I'll probably just call the small flushes. I'm representing a hand like queen 3 of spades, for instance. Let's see what Berri does here. And Berri actually ships all in, which is pretty damn sick. So he's basically saying, hey, I checked back a flush on the turn, right? I checked back a hand like ace jack of spades or king queen of spades or whatever big flush. I mean, maybe he doesn't even raise a queen high flush at this point, right? So he's saying he's got an ace or king high flush at least. Wow. That is a sick bluff by Berri, and it didn't work. We're kind of rooting for him, right? When he pulls a bluff that sick, you kind of want him to get away with it. Actually, you don't, because then we don't get to see it, but that was a pretty sick one. So Linus, actually, I mean, he just bet, and he raised over the top, probably thinking what Berri raises. He might be just raising with the same hand, right, with a jack, and he's trying to get Linus to fold a split. Or he even has a hand like queen jack or a low flush. So plenty of value in a 3-bet by Linus. And once he gets shoved on, he has to know he's not going to win. So Berri's probably thinking, well, I block queen jack. I also block the queen high flush, which is going to be one of Linus's main flushes in this spot. So it's more likely that Linus just had some kind of small flush. He might even be capable of folding. So pretty sick line by Berri. Is this advisable if you're playing, let's say, NL 100? No, absolutely not. Is this the right play potentially under the right circumstances in a GTO strategy? Or in a GTO strategy? Yeah, it could be. It's a pretty damn sweet one. What do you guys think of this one? I mean, come on, that was a sick hand. I feel like Berri overbluffs this type of spot. It's difficult to say because we don't know how many hands Berri's repping. We don't really know how many bluffs he has. I mean, this hand obviously looks very sick, but I don't know how often he does any of this, so difficult to say. I would say a lot of people just never bluff in a spot like this, right? So, and then a guy like Berri might just overbluff. Is Berri a red line warrior? Based on this hand, definitely. But the thing is, you cannot just base that on one hand, so it's difficult to say. Make Boyfriend did an AMA on Twitter and replied to one of the questions about Berri that Berri is a psychopath and probably GOAT of online poker. Can't disagree with that. Berri Sweet open raises 480, giving a little bit of a discount. And Make Boyfriend makes it 2,000 to go. Standard 3-bet size. I go 10.5 bigs. You know, Make Boyfriend apparently goes 10. Maybe it goes 10.5 as well versus 2.5x. 8-6-3 is a much better board for Berri. And so we could expect one of those big bets we've seen before. Except Make Boyfriend goes for a small bet. And I don't know if small bet is his only play or if he's mixing multiple bet sizes here. I honestly do not know. Turn is a jack of spades. It's a card Make Boyfriend likes seeing. A lot of his backdoors now improve. You know, if he were betting a hand like Jack 10 of clubs, he now has a pair. If he were betting something like Queen 10 of spades, he now has, well, a gut shot and a flush draw. So Make Boyfriend improves a decent amount on this turn. Makes sense that he goes for a big bet right here. River 10, Make Boyfriend could have improved with a hand like 10-9 or Queen 9, Queen 10. Does he bet 10s this large on the on the turn? Maybe. And he ships the river. 9-7 gets there, but 5-4 and 7-5 miss. Wow. What a sick luck box he is. So Make Boyfriend actually 3-bet with 9-7 offsuit pre-flop, which is fine at a low frequency, but it definitely looks a bit spewy, right? I mean, 3-betting such a bad hand out of position. And then he bet multiple times and got there in the river, so obviously you cannot blame him for putting in the money. So overall, this play looks quite spewy, but I actually think it's fine. I think it's good. Berri Sweet just called down here. I definitely could see Berri wanting to raise the flop or the turn here. His hand is not only amazing, but he needs a lot of protection. So he could have considered shoving here. I don't know if he calls his hand low frequency or always, or maybe as a read on Make Boyfriend that he was bluffing too much, so he wanted him to continue bluffing. I don't know, but fast playing is definitely an idea. Nice hand overall. I would say especially Make Boyfriend played his hand well. Do you pay attention if your opponents use multiple sizes on the same texture? It's difficult to say, obviously, but yes, I know there's some that do it, and the ones that do it usually f it up. So I would generally recommend against that. And the thing is, I'm talking about guys who are extremely strong players, of course, right? Not just random players.